Hello friends, welcome back to Complete Medical Coding. Today let's discuss about few auth rejections. There are so many rejections, there are so many denials in the medical coding. Okay, so among that, the most common rejections that you used to get is auth rejections. So today let's discuss what are the important auth rejections. Okay. So friends, before moving to the channel, before moving to the video, if you are new to the channel, please support me by subscribing to the channel. And let's look into the auth rejections one by one. There are different very important and very common auth rejections. Among that, the first one is auth 001. Okay, auth 001. What do you mean by auth 0? What rejection is that? If you get a rejection auth 001, it means prior approval is required and was not obtained. Okay, so if you get a rejection saying authorization 001, this is the rejection, the denial code auth 001. It means prior approval is required and was not obtained. For example, outpatient MRI CT request pre-approval. However, if no pre-approval was requested or was requested and denied, then such claims are not eligible for payment. Yeah. So that is an example. So what does it mean? Prior approval, some service, for example, an MRI or CT. That's just an example. Okay, few services request pre-approval before rendering the service to the patient. So in such cases, if in case the pre-approval was not obtained, or there are two criteria, either pre-approval was not obtained or else the pre-approval was obtained but it was rejected, the claim was rejected. In such cases, if you are billing such claims, it is not eligible for payment. So you will get a rejection code saying auth 001. Okay. Now what is the second one, which is similar to the first one? Okay, auth 003. Prior authorization number is invalid. Claim submitted with authorization number which is invalid for the insurance company will not be eligible for payment. So this is almost similar to the first one, but the first one is the prior approval was not obtained. Prior auth was not obtained. The second one is auth 003 is prior auth. It is obtained but it is invalid. So it could be invalid in the sense the prior authorization number that we had submitted is mismatched with the one that the insurance company provide us. Okay, insurance company will never give an invalid authorization number. It should match whatever we received from the insurance company and whatever we are submitting to the claim, the pre-auth that whatever we are submitting to the claim, it should match. Even spaces, if even there are no spaces for prior authorization, but sometimes if there are spaces in prior authorization code, you have to put that space also, even that space matters. Okay, so the space or whatever it is, it will the number of prior or the exact value you have to put, otherwise they will deny, the claim will not be paid. Now what is the third one? auth 004. So the first one is auth 001, second is auth 003, third one is auth 004. Services are performed outside authorization validity date. See, while checking the heading itself, while reading the heading itself, you will understand what it is exactly it is. But I'm just showing it with some example in case for some new people who are into medical coding, they might not be knowing. That's why I'm explaining everything in detail. Okay. So auth 004 is services are performed outside the authorization validity date. Example, tonsillectomy is authorized to be carried out between January 1st, 2025 and Feb 1st, 2025. However, the claim is submitted with service date Feb 3rd, 2025. Hence, such claims are not eligible for payment. Okay. So here, the services performed outside the authorization validity date. So this means, see, we can discuss it with this example, same example. For example, a tonsillectomy or some surgery which is authorized, which we already got the approval, but in the approval, as I mentioned in the previous video, there is always a validity date and an expiry date, right? The starting date and the effective date and the expiry date. So this approval date was effective 1st of Jan and ending date is, expiry date is 1st of Feb. But the claim that we submitted or the billing date or the service date was Feb 3rd. So it means it is outside the validity date of the authorization. So in such cases, the claim will be denied. Okay, that's what it exactly means. So you have to bill it within the, or the services have to carry out within the authorization date. It should not exceed or it should not be a pre-date. Okay. Some services like minor services, they'll give maximum 1 or 2 days, or sorry, not 2 days, maximum 7 days, sometimes 14 days. It will vary, sometimes 1 month. So it varies. Okay. Now what is the next one? AUTH 005. The fourth authorization rejection is, fourth one is AUTH 005. Sorry. What is AUTH 005? Claim information is inconsistent with the pre-certified or authorized services. So here the claim information is inconsistent with pre-certified or authorized services. What does it mean? Authorization was obtained for appendectomy while the claim is submitted for inguinal hernia repair using the same authorization number given for the appendectomy. Hope you understood. So this means, for example, we are requesting a service for authorization for prior approval for appendectomy, and they have given the approval for appendectomy. But what we had billed is not appendectomy. Instead of that, we are building something else. For example, inguinal hernia we are building, but we are using the same, we are putting the same pre-authorization code as appendectomy. Then it will get rejected. Okay, it means the pre-authorization code given for the appendectomy is not matching with what we have submitted. So whatever we received, whatever service that we received, the prior authorization, that same authorization number should be used. It should not mismatch. So that is what AUTH 005 is. Now what is AUTH 010? Fifth one. Authorization 010. Authorization request overlaps or is within the period of another paid claim or approved authorization. Authorization request overlaps or is within the period of another paid claim or approved authorization. What does it mean? Authorization request has been submitted for home nursing. This is an example, okay? For example, authorization request has been submitted for home nursing while the approved request for inpatient stay already exists for the same encounter date. Hence, the home nursing request would not be eligible for payment. Okay, so this means we are submitting a request for home nursing, but there is already an approval which was taken before for the same service. So in such cases, the home nursing, we cannot say the exact same service, but the service which is almost similar to the one that we had requested. So here, home nursing service we are submitting, but on the same date we already received an approval request for inpatient care. So how come inpatient care and home nursing facility be together? It can't be together, right? So in such cases we will get an authorization rejection saying AUTH 010. Okay, so it means the authorization request overlaps within the period of another paid claim. It's already a paid claim or an approved claim. So in that cases, if some other request overlaps, then we will get this such kind of rejection, AUTH 010. Now, what is the sixth one? AUTH 011. AUTH 011. It means waiting period on pre-existing or chronic conditions. Let's discuss it with an example. Member policy effective date is Jan 1st, 2025 and covers pre-existing COPD. We are just taking an example with COPD because it's a pre-existing condition, pre-existing and chronic condition. Okay, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So, and it covers pre-existing COPD with 6 months waiting period. So it means the policy was effective on Jan 1st, but the patient is having coverage of COPD only after 6 months. That is what it means. Okay. However, authorization request submitted for inpatient admission effective on Feb 1st, 2025. Hence, service will not be eligible for payment unless pre-requisition of uninterrupted prior coverage with any health insurance plan is fulfilled. So here, the plan effective, policy effective was Jan 1st with a waiting period. The patient is having a waiting period for COPD of 6 months. So 6 months means until June 1st, the waiting period is effective. I mean, the waiting period is there. So within that waiting period, it is not covered in the insurance. It is the patient eligibility to pay. So, but the authorization request that we are submitting is Feb 1st. So it means only 1 month gap, right? Within 1 month, we are submitting a pre-approval request. So in such cases, because there is a pre-existing period for such conditions, so it won't be covered. It will be eligible only after 6 months of the policy effective date, unless if there is some emergency or some certain conditions. That is what it means. Pre-existing, it will be applicable for pre-existing as well as chronic conditions. Pre-existing means some conditions, medical conditions, which was effective, which was already there in the patient before the effective date. That is a pre-existing condition. Before the policy starts, if the patient is having some condition, for some medical condition, that will come under pre-existing. Okay, so that is also that will not be covered. Depends on the policy. If the policy is having waiting period for such conditions, for pre-existing and chronic conditions, in such cases, they have to be they are eligible only after 6 months. Okay, usually waiting period it comes for 6 months, sometimes for 1 year as well, but mostly it comes under 6 months. So these are few important OATH rejections. 6 important common OATH rejections. OATH 001, OATH 003, OATH 004, OATH 005, OATH 010, and OATH 011. Okay, hope you understood. And if you have any queries, you can mark it in the comments, and I'll be getting back to you soon. So if you find this video useful, please share it among your friends. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe. And thank you so much. So let's come back again with another video. Okay. Thank you. Stay tuned. Bye.